Hey guys, don't know how well you can see me or hear me, but I did another setup on the crawler last night. I also popped the window glass out of the main windshield so I could put the main framing upwards. But anyway, I'll show you other pics of that later. But I did another setup to see if I can avoid some of the tumbles I took yesterday and to see how well it's going to react to the Jeep body. I am running an HSP suspension on this thing now, which is the shocks are slightly longer than the stock ones because I did break a shock the last time out at the Deshaney Falls. So anyways, let's head to the trail in the backyard here and see how things go. guys, that concludes our short little run with the new setup. So we'll shut the camera off here, go into the house, I'll fire up the other camera, show you the setup I've got going on with this thing. Overall, I think it did really well. A couple times the tires rubbed into the body, which is not too bad considering how low things are sitting, but I got a lot more stability out of it than what I had before. Giving this thing too much height makes it too top heavy, you know, so too tipsy. So I think this is actually not a bad setup. You know, it's going to have its drawbacks of tire rubbings at times, but it'll have to do for now. So don't go away, and we'll be back with the conclusion of showing you all the setups here. Hey guys, how's it going? So we just got back in from our little trail run there with a new setup. I've really lowered things a lot on the crawler. That's pretty much about as low as I can get away with. Whoops, don't want to be driving on the table. Anyways, there we go. So my rear setup here, I'm in a little over 1/4 of an inch from the bottom. On the front end, I'm actually bottomed right out. So it lowers things quite a bit. It's the lowest I can actually get away with, especially with this Jeep body. And it's pretty much about as low as it's going to go too, because the bracket is going to start banging into the motor, so I got to kind of watch that. Articulation is still actually fairly decent. You know, you got to kind of really watch it on, you know, steep twistings, because the body shell is going to rub into the tire with this setup now, so that's a bit of a drawback. I am running HSP Brontosaurus / Red Cat Volcano shocks on this thing now, only because I buggered up one of my stock shocks the last time out at the falls. But these ones actually work really well. I'm actually pretty impressed because they're also a little bit longer too, but they still need 2 preload clips on either side at the back, 1 on either side at the front. Now, as far as bottoming goes, my frame is bottoming, is bottoming out on the bracket for the cross member. So it kind of stops, it gives clearance as far as that way goes. Okay, as far as articulation twisting, it's going to allow rubbing of the tire, which I'm sure you're going to hear that you heard on the video, some of that rubbing going on. My front, I don't ever get problems with rubbing on the tires, but I do have less movement up front, because when I put those extended screw-on caps from the Brontosaurus on here, because, you know, I broke one of my screw-on caps on my link there. I did it all the way around, and what it did was it created a tilt of the entire drivetrain forward. Okay, that actually got the bracket to move and start hitting now into the front nose of my Jeep body. So there's a price to pay, of course. So what I might have to do is maybe switch the fronts and go back to factory ones to suck the front end back in, but I kind of like the way the angles are right now and everything, so, but, you know, you got to kind of live with whatever mods you do, right? You know, and keep trying. But to get enough center of gravity so it's low enough that it's not so tipsy, this setup works really well. But it's not going to work well for high articulation movements without having to rub into the body a lot. So I'm going to have to still look around for a better body, but I really like this one and it works. So as long as I work with it, you know, and not against it, I shouldn't have any issues at all with, you know, tire rub and stuff, as long as I keep it within limitations, right? Otherwise, I'm going to hear that and see that, and I don't want to. So, you know, I'll work with it for the time being, and I still have some other setups I want to try out with this thing here and there as I go, so it never ends, that's for sure. But it did much better today in the trails. I also did a different FPV setup. I put the camera back to the back. The other thing I did was I wanted to have my windshield frame up, so I popped the glass out, and what I want to do is actually find a replacement glass that's already clear, and unfortunately you can't remove this glass from the framing without breaking the framing, so I'm going to keep my eyes out for another Jeep body that already has a clear glass, except this time instead of using acetone, which was stupid, I'm going to actually use the brake cleaner because I know the brake cleaner is not going to fog the plastic. So, but didn't find that out until I tried. So you find things out as you go. Anyhow, so the crawler's doing well. We have our camera mount at the back for the backseat driver view. And of course we have our mount up front here now as well. So that's working out too. The tires. These are G-Made Bighorns for those of you that don't know. Reversing the tread works really well. Having the tread run the way they are now, which is the forward mode, which is the way they're supposed to be set up, okay, they are not the world's best. They work okay. Don't get them wet because then they can't grip anything, you know, as far as this mode goes. I don't know about having them reversed because yesterday was actually the first time I ever got the tires wet on this truck. So, you know, everything's waterproof on my truck, so I don't care. I just hate getting things wet with the trucks at times, only because it's a pain to get all the water out. But at least these are bead locks, you know, so I can, you know, take them all apart and, you know, get the foam really squashed out and dried out and put them back together. It's not like glued on rims, you know, where you're forever squeezing and, you know, moving the water around the sponge to squeeze it out, and it's a real pain in the neck. At least this is a lot easier to deal with. And these tires don't absorb a lot of water in, which was something I found was really good. So that's actually alright. You know, they do have breather holes too, so, but there's not a lot of water in there, so that's good at least. But anyways, so this is our new setup. This is how it's working. It seems to be okay generally. I just can't push the articulation like I said. Forever doing different setups. I have another idea in mind that I want to try for the next setup and see how that works out, but I'm not holding my breath, you know, because ideas are great, but they don't always work, right? But so far this one's working pretty good. A lot better than yesterday's run. You know, had a few spills yesterday. Today things were a lot less hassle. But today's spill was because I was actually on a really bad angle. It was actually like this, and trying to drive a truck along this angle, it's gonna teeter-totter over, right? So, and so anyways, that's the spill for today on that one. But the rest of it did good, so pretty happy overall. Anyways, hey, let me know what you guys think as usual. If you're not already subbed to my channel, please sub, and you will definitely get updates for more videos. And FYI, if you didn't see the video, when you do sub to somebody's channel, a little star wheel appears. Click it and then select that you want updates, the top choice only. And then you'll be guaranteed you'll always get updates to people's channels that you sub to. So anyways, that's it. That's all. Feel free to leave your comments, and we'll catch you in the next one.